Everybody, it's Multi-Direct One here. I was just giving a short bumper for this video to describe what it is and to talk about these videos coming in the future. Right now, I'm starting to stream in the mornings on Twitch, and I might switch to afternoon, I might stay in the mornings, we'll see. And whenever I start a day up, I like to read the news. It's just something I do. I have a minor in journalism and a background in research. And so when I take my time, I like to just read the news in the morning. It's kind of my warm up for the Twitch news of the day. And then I go into playing video games. This is just off that morning stream. I have linked the date and I have a little description explaining what's going on. It's over the Olympic women boxing event. There's been a bunch of news about that. And I just spent the time reading some of the news and giving my opinion on the matter. Again, as always, this is breaking news, so more stuff could come out in the future to go over it more, but right now I'm currently giving out my opinion as of August 3rd today when I'm going to post this video. So, I hope you enjoyed if you want to look into that journalism stuff and see more of it. But if you're here for only video game stuff, please, there is no need to watch any of this. None of it will impact my gameplay schedule uploading, and in reality, I might be uploading more gameplay videos quicker than uploading just one a day due to me having more time to play games and I'm getting better at editing everything and finding my own workflow. So if you want to watch, go ahead. If not, don't watch if you don't want to watch any politics stuff. Hope you have a good rest of the day and I hope you enjoy the video. Bye. Guardian, it said boxers who failed gender test at World Championship cleared to compete at Olympics. Let's take a look through it and let's go find out if it's correct or not. The IOC International Olympic Committee has confirmed that two boxers who were disqualified from the World Championship last year for failing gender eligibility tests will be allowed to fight in Paris. Imane Khelif of Algeria and Lin Yuting of Chinese Taipei, Taiwan, both start their Olympic campaigns this week. Khelif will meet the Italian Angela Carini in the 66 kilogram category, and Lin is expected to face an unnamed opponent in the 57 kilogram category on Friday. The IOC's decision will be controversial, with the former world champion Barry McEwen expressing his unease in a post on X. Here it is. Oh wait, no, this is before that. He goes, "It's shocking that they're actually had to go this far. What is going on?" Barry McEwen, I guess former champion, something. I legitimately don't know the background. And this is from Redux. Redux, if you don't know, pro-woman, pro-child, safeguarding, anti-bullshit, blah, 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 blah. So if you don't know what that kind of means, we can obviously go look it up. So let's go see what Redux is if you want to know how my process works. So Redux, I'm going to spell that right real quickly. Redux, double X. Redux site, Wikipedia. So just so we can see if we can get a cursory background in it. We're going to click to Anna Slats. Did she make Redux? Yep. Okay. So she made Redux. So it's a Canadian journalist and gender critical advocate. She's a founder and editor of the gender critical website Redux, and it was affiliated with the far right website Rebel News. Okay, so if we go there, we have Rebel News, Canadian far right political and social commentary media website. Okay, so this is a pretty far right website. That's where all the associations come from. Again, doesn't mean it's going to be a bad website. We should just be aware of the biases going into thing. There's more here if you want to. Slats was served as editor of a student newspaper, The Baron, until she was fired following the publication of an opinion piece by an interview with the leader of a neo-Nazi group, which led to a wave of resignations. Okay, so she's got a little bit of a history, being a little, getting a little spicy, I would say, being a little spicy. So we'll move away. And again, nothing wrong with this so far. I want to make sure I'm being perfectly clear on that. I don't think there's anything wrong so far. I think she'll be aware of these biases. Don't look at these things yet. Blah, 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 blah. We were over here. That was for that, all that stuff. But where's my X? We're only starting here, and we were at this article. Thank you. What is going on? So we saw that. We'll take a look. And so, since we started here, remember, he said in a post on X, it's going to show where they're going. We should hop all the way over to there, see what they wrote. That's what Redux is, and they wrote this piece: breaking, two female boxers. So we should know. Okay, they're quoting from this thing over here. We should go take a look at that just to go figure out, is that something we should care about? Is there some important information we missed? Or blah, 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 right? Let's go take a look at this article. Two athletes competing at the Paris Olympics as women were previously disqualified from a women's world championship for having XY chromosomes. Imane Khelif of Algeria and Lin Yutang of Taiwan are scheduled to compete in Olympic women's boxing next week despite past questions surrounding their biological sex. The Women's World Boxing Championship took place in March of 2023 and was hosted in New Delhi, India. A total of 324 boxers from 64 nations competed during the 10-day trial, marking the largest participation in any iteration of the championship ever recorded. Hip hip hooray, go women boxing. However, the grand event was marred by controversy after Imane Khelif, president of the IBA, announced the disqualification of multiple boxers from the championship. Krimlov said the IBA executives had met towards the championship's grand finale to discuss fairness among athletes and professionalism, after concerns were raised about the biological sex of some participants. He added that after a series of DNA tests, the IBA uncovered athletes who were trying to fool their colleagues and pretend to be women. Speaking to TASS News, so let's go look at that. So TASS is a Russian website. We'll translate to English for ourselves. IBA banned that from work. Okay, so we're just going to go look. Speaking of TASS News, Krimlov stated, exploited chromosomes and were thus excluded from the sports events. Among the disqualified was Imane Khelif, I believe. I don't know how to say their names. I am a white guy. An Algerian boxer who had been set to challenge Yang Li of Chinese in the welterweight finals. Welterweight would be fun. Khelif was removed from the gold medal fight, blah, blah, blah. In a public statement, the IBA wrote that a boxer, so in a public statement, now you have the public statement. I actually have the, I don't know why we go to Reuters. They have their shit literally right here. You can just go to their public statements, IBA News. I'm going to go double check that if that's not connected, I'm actually going to be kind of upset that they would say in a public statement and not just link their public statement, because just shows a distinct lack of credibility to me. Boxer from, one second. That's the quote. So let's see if they're just quoting from this article, because we can just all see the article. Not from this article. Where are they quoting that from? All right, Reuters, we're going to do a little bit of digging. As ruling as personal medical, as well as its athletes' personal and medical privacy, therefore cannot be shared. Okay, well here's an interesting quote here. We're trying to see if we can figure out. So I see this one, so maybe they just updated this one, because this one kind of says the same thing. So we're going to look at this from Reuters really quickly, and we're going to see a distinct break here in discussion, right? This is what I'm going to call the break of, do you either know what you're talking about or you're not? So, a boxer was excluded from the IBA World Boxing due to failure to meet the IBA eligibility criteria, the governing body said in a statement. So the governing body is not just the president, it's the organization, which means it holds more, I think, power than just some guy spouting off who works there. This is just how I will feel. If the org says something compared to one guy disagreeing with it, I'm going to trust the org more. It's just who I am. The IBA upholds its rules and regulations, as well as its athletes' personal and medical privacy. The eligibility criteria, therefore, cannot be shared by the IBA. We do not know why they were banned. It is not saying why. It says for medical reasons, and it said it would support her preparation for the African qualification tournament for next year's Paris Olympics. They even support them for next Olympics. They say it's great. I'd love to find the statement. That's the Algerian Olympic Committee goes, yeah, we'll, it's medical reasons, we can continue with her. Algerian media reported Khelif was disqualified for high levels of testosterone in her system. And so they're saying it's a conspiracy. They're saying, hey, it's weird that this happened. They're not releasing anything. I want to go find out. That's a really interesting thing. Algerian media reported that. Let's go. Algerian media. How do you spell Khelif? Let's go look real quick right here. We can just find this then, right? It's, Khelif, high test. And by the way, if you like Reuters, which I'm a pretty big fan of Reuters, I can get behind Reuters, them not linking anything here for this. Let's go look. Having a link for any of this stuff here should suss you out. This should be reported. So this was reported. Go to Reuters here. This was reported in 2023. So we should say 2023. Okay. Should get rid of that now. Looking at that now, I'm not seeing any links to any of that stuff. But that's interesting. We're going to put that down. I'm going to open up a notepad. And we're going to write that down just for ourselves. To maybe we can find something more about that later. I can go on that. Here's my what the borscht stuff from playing Euden Chronicles. I don't need to worry about that. What the borscht? What absolute borscht? There's the game stuff falling back into it. But here we go. We're going to pause there. That's the news. So we have from our Reuters articles, which I think is interesting, but no linkage to a source. We have here that the IBA, that we have a link to something that says, hey, Algerian. I want to just write this down. We're going to have this written down. We're doing good reporting. Quote, in her system, I want to Reuters, important Reuters 2023 by Imane. Because remember, you should always be checking people if you're in those stats reporting. How did he get this information, or she? Don't know. And we'll put the link to the article. This is just for ourselves as a remembrance. Hey, in case going forward we see discrepancies, this is a piece of information I've literally never seen before and seen repeated by anyone to find like a link to it. So I want to hold this in my head as something important. We'll mark that as my first point here that I find interesting. So really quickly, we have Algerian media has now claimed that this lady has high testosterone. But remember the first original claim back here. Kremlev claimed that it has proved the athletes in question had XY chromosomes and were thus excluded from sports events. What they're claiming back over here from the actual thing he represents, the IBA upholds rulings that the athlete's personal medical privacy, the eligible criteria, could not be shared by the IBA. They're saying we should not share, and then they're suddenly saying we are sharing. It's a bit weird, but we'll move on from there. Among the disqualified were those two people we've been talking about. One sec. Among the disqualified and Thailand's. Oh, okay, whatever. And both said the IBA wrote that a boxer from Algeria was excluded from the IBA due to the failure to meet the IBA. Okay, so they even have it here. But the Algerian Olympic Committee denied the IBA's claims, attributing Khelif's disqualification to a conspiracy for an Algerian gold medal in boxing. Okay, let's go see this quote then. This is great. The Star. I just want to see their exact quote. Is there a linkage to their just their quote? Okay, we're gonna go hunting then. So we're looking for a direct source here then. Imane. No, it's not Imane. That doesn't make. Is it? What's her name? Imane. Oh, what was it, Imane? Imane Khelif. So this would be the Algerian Olympic Committee 2023. There's gonna be a ton now. I'd love to find the one from a long time ago, though. That would be really specifically what I'm looking for. It's gonna be impossible to find it now. Not impossible, just more annoying. 2023 response to Hamas. No, I'm just looking for a response to. Anyone just have the exact? Dude, not linking your stuff is so bumpkus. Okay. Mark that down. It's under the same responses here. We're looking for the media reported stuff. Again, we're still just what we're looking for. The governing body said in a statement. Yeah. We're just looking for that as always. Algerian media reported Khelif had. So they were saying it again. Algerian media reported Khelif is disqualified for high level testosterone in her system. That's what we're hearing. I'm not seeing it. I'd have to maybe go look for what the Algerian. But this is an interesting claim with no sourcing for it. Remember, sourcing is good. It lets you know where things come from. Because now I'm having trouble finding it. I'm not looking super hard again right now. But when they don't actively source it for you, I don't think that sounds good because that's a claim that would be good just to have. And they're claiming silence about it. Okay. There you go. We're stuck in that zone. I also looked at this quote. He had that after a series of DNA tests. This will take you to, I believe, RT News. So we're just going to get out of these real quick. We'll hold this. Now, ever linking to an RT News article should fill you with a big level of, not fear, but it should be a little freaky for you. RT News, as we all know, is Russian state-controlled. It's not state-funded, like say the BBC. It's state-controlled, so it's owned by Russian. The state media controls it much more openly. We would call this a form of propaganda. So I'm always nervous about this, and this will then be my big conflict when we come to talk about this, which I think is very dangerous to have. So we have these notes from Imane Khelif, president of the IBA, and he's saying, hey, fairness, he had that after a series of DNA tests, the IBA uncovered athletes who were trying to fool their colleagues pretend to be women. This is interesting. That is a very serious claim now we're all of a sudden seeing, right? They claim she's Algerian media again reported that the hormone test had returned an elevated testosterone level. Again, we're not seeing any claim for this. So again, I'm going to go look now. I don't even know how to believe elevated testosterone. I can't spell testosterone. Testosterone level 2023 Algerian media. Like, I'm just looking for that. I don't want to see new. I mean, I'm going to go to news and can I look now? No. Just try fewer keywords. Again, we're just not going to. I'll have to go hunt for this one. This might be my tomorrow morning too. Just trying to hunt for that. Okay, wait. No, this is about it. Man, it's crazy. Doesn't look like it's popping up with anything. I'll have to look into that. Why don't you link these quotes? I mean, I know RT doesn't. So we're going to look at their reports. This is the RT News. So this is from a propaganda channel. Several participants were disqualified from the Women's World Box Champion after DNA tests rendered them ineligible. Imane Khelif, president of the International Boxing Association, wrote on Telegram on Saturday the competition concluded in New Delhi, India, on Sunday. Khelif said the IBA executives had met towards the end of the championship to discuss fairness among athletes and professionalism. He added that after a series of DNA tests, the association uncovered athletes who were trying to fool their colleagues and pretended to be women. Khelif claimed that the tests proved they had XY chromosomes and were thus excluded from the sports event. Algeria, Imane Khelif, who won the 22 African and the year's Mediterranean Games, were disqualified from the event due to the failure to meet IBA eligibility criteria. Algerian media reported that her hormone test had returned an elevated testosterone level. Although Khelif claimed she was the victim of a conspiracy, American and European sports have been locked in a debate over trans athletes. On Thursday, World Athletics banned male-to-female transgender athletes who would have from female events. Okay, but now they're claiming trans stuff. The ire of LGBT and trans athletes. Meanwhile, in some sporting events that do not allow participation, a trans woman have completely beaten the competition. U.S. cyclocross champion Hannah Arnsman quit the sport after losing to a trans athlete. Well, now they're claiming trans stuff here, which doesn't make any sense comparatively when we have not talked about anything about trans. This could be someone who, if they do have an XY chromosome, which again, we are not even sure of yet. This is just one person claiming, well, the organization has never claimed that. They're saying now, well, actually, they're trans in this article, which doesn't make any sense. We haven't even gotten close to that level of understanding. So, boom, RT News debunked, bad, terrible, stupid. We'll look at that. We're not going to look at that one right now. So, I mean, we'll look at the task news and we'll read the Russian article now. Again, he's not really saying this to any English people. Athletes who tried to pass themselves off as women for the. So how do we know they're trying to? We don't know that intent. Okay, so based on the results, that yeah, again, it's just baloney, just baloney arguments. So great. We've hopped through all that now. So that's the Redux post from this that took us to from J.K. Rowling over here. That's all that was. No information given. So if we keep going up, we go men don't belong in sports. We have Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines, known transgender hater in sports. I think just probably trans hater in general. But again, nothing that says that's a bad thing or it's a bad. I don't like it. But nothing says like that's going to destroy your reporting if you don't like something. The ink's in here. So this is the big tweet that took off. Look at that view number. I think we can see actually compared to. We'll get rid of this real quick because you can see. Look at this. It got viewed a lot, but just not the numbers, baby. We're not looking for the numbers. Looking for those big likes. We're looking for that. So we see this first one, 84K likes, right? It got some views. Views are big, but we're looking for like engagement style look. This engagement, 466, almost 500,000 likes. I mean, that's that engagement we're talking about. We have, 500,000 like I stand with Angela Creaney, who doesn't stand with these people. Just to be fair, I saw a lot of hate go towards this woman who fought the Imane Khelif in the fight, and she has not stood by literally any of this. So I don't know why people were putting their shit with her. So this is what sparked this. Now, I've done this little searching through because I'm an insane person who likes searching through news articles and stuff. We can hop all the way back to where you should start. Anytime you see a news article, I recommend the AP News. AP News or NPR. Those are just really good starting points to get good information on news. Now remember, like I was saying before for all this, you can start with them. You should just write down stuff you find interesting. Or find out little discrepancies if you think there is one, right? So if we start with AP News, we can go through here. This has become big news. It's kind of annoying going through all of this, but we can. So we have the first AP News. Banned governing body that's feeling outcry on Olympic boxer has Russian ties and a troubled history. Now remember, people for some reason are kind of right now having this problem understanding that Russian news is going to be a little more disinformational because it's just controlled by a more powerful government a government that has more restrictive controls over stuff. And then RT News is literally a state-run propaganda thing. As we saw, that they literally hedged in transgender issues for a thing that no one had really even talked about up to that point about trans stuff. It was, they had failed this test, but they're like, oh, they're sneaking, blah, blah, blah. We have no idea if that test, like that failure, that there's knowledge in there, that they were knowingly doing this. Remember, we always be very careful. So let's go see now. We looked at their side. We found some issues here and there. Let's go look at the other side and see if they bring up stuff that can disprove the other things they said. So, nearly 17 months ago in New Delhi, Algerian boxer Imane Khelif was disqualified from the IBA World Championship 3 days after she won an early round bout with Azilia Ameneva, a previously unbeaten Russian prospect. The disqualification meant Ameneva's official record was perfect again. Now, that's an interesting claim. We're now claiming some conspiracy on the other side. The IBA said Khelif and fellow boxer Lin Yuting of Taiwan had failed to meet the required necessary eligibility criteria that were found to have competitive advantage over other female competitors. The governing body claimed the fighters had failed unspecified eligibility tests, the same tests that ignited a massive controversy about gender regulations and perceptions in sports this week as Khelif and Lin compete at the Paris Olympics. The IBA's decision last year and its curious timing, particularly related to Ameneva's loss to Khelif, would have raised warning signs around the sport world if more people cared about amateur boxing or even knew more about the IBA under President Imane Khelif of Russia. The entire boxing world has already learned to expect almost anything from the Russian-dominated governing body that was given unprecedented punishment of being permanently banned from the Olympics last year. In fact, it hasn't run any Olympic boxing tournament since the Rio de Janeiro Games in 2016. Now that's interesting to me. If you're banned from something from the Olympics, well, guess what? You're like the first to do that. So let's go take a look at why they were banned. So, IOC banishes boxing governing body from Olympics. The IBA boxer was banished from the Olympics family on Thursday, ending a years-long dispute fueled by defying advice and instructions from IOC. Boxing, however, will keep it set, blah, blah. Vote was 69-1, 10 members abstaining. They called a meeting to be like, we're doing it. The dispute centered on the IBA's management under president from Uzbekistan and Russia, who the IC disapproved of, its finances being backed by Russian state energy firm Gazprom, plus the integrity of ballots and judging. So we can look into all this. We actually have the exact. This is the IBA's meeting. Sorry, where's the IOC ruling? You can actually look at the whole IOC ruling of why they did this. This is the IOC Commission report on the situation of the International Boxing Association, formerly known as IABA. Remember, International Boxing Association is a relatively new name for them. Is there originally known as like the Association of International Boxing, something like that, amateurs, something like that. They changed their name. I don't think it's like a really big problem, but there is a whole laundry list, and if you want to go through them, you totally can. I'd give it a recommendation. I do not think it's totally baloney that they were looked at. I mean, there are many moments in here where it seems like they were unwilling to comply or talk to the Olympics about, you know, rulings and previous stuff and things that they were kind of looking into. So I don't think it's terrible to say that there could be some problems here. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to read through all this, so I'm going to go play games soon. But it is interesting. So we have all this. This is why we have the IOC's banished, blah, blah, blah. But let's go back into this. The non-boxing world largely doesn't know, however, about the IBA's. Okay, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, sorry. Governance and launching accusations of thorough lack of normal transparency in nearly every aspect of its dealings. They're saying they're untransparent, they're doing things their own way, particularly in recent years. Many people took the IBA's proclamation about Khelif and Lin at face value while dragging the eligibility dispute into wider clashes about gender identity. The IOC has decades of mostly bad history with the beleaguered governing body previously known as IABA, and it has exasperatedly begged non-boxing to pay attention to the sole source of the allegation against Khelif and Lin. They're being like, hey, these people are not to be trusted. Why are we trusting them? The two athletes were the victim of a sudden and arbitrary decision by the IBA. IOC spokesman Mark Adams said this week, such an approach is contrary to good governance. On Saturday, IOC President Thomas Bach said it was totally unacceptable that two boxers faced with what he called hate speech in a politically motivated uproar. So this is where I think this comes in. Politically motivated. It's a very interesting way of looking at this. We'll come back to this in a sec. The IOC had stuck with the previous incarnation of boxing's governing body through decades of judging scandals, bizarre leadership decisions, and innumerable financial misdeeds while it presided over Olympic boxing tournaments. Not until 2019, nearly 2 years after the organization elected president, what U.S. officials called deep Russian organized crime and hair ring trafficking, did the IOC finally ban its perpetually troubled group. So we can look into some of these if we want to. We might go back into this later. But they're saying this actual source we're pulling from is very ungood. Very non-good. So let's go to the source. I think we can hop through here real quick. We can look at all these things, blah, blah. But if we just go back all the way to who is Imane Khelif, Algerian boxer facing gender outcry, had modest success before Olympics, we can go... blah, blah, blah. We scroll down here. We're talking about all this stuff, who this person was, blah, blah, blah. Why was she disqualified? We know this big conspiracy that we've kind of gone over a few times. But if you want to just look, you can just type in IBA ruling on Khelif and go see, hey, why did this happen? Real talk, why did this happen? And here's their website, IBA, News Integrity. You can link to this if you ever want to. They even updated it to August 1st, 2024 to make sure this is all still compliant. It is only August 3rd right now, so you can go and look on your own. Further to the IBA statement made yesterday evening regarding the removal of ineligible athletes from all IBA female competitions, we reiterate stance and firm position. IBA remains committed in ensuring competitive fairness in all our events. We absolutely condemn the inconsistencies in eligibility to compete in boxing competitions held in the Paris Olympic Games 2024. So remember, they are condemning the Paris Games, so they do not like the Paris Games. To reiterate, both Imane Khelif and Lin Yuting post-testing did not meet the required eligibility criteria to compete with the female category of our respective events. So they're saying your events and our events something has gone wrong with the testing of both of them, and one of them. Not in theirs, they're saying it's either fine, either it's been fine or not. The decision made on IBA on March 24th, 2023 was subsequently ratified by the IBA Board of Directors on 25th of March 2023. The official record can be accessed on the IOC here. So you can, I have it pulled up here, you can just go look at why they did it. or look up how it happened. The disqualification was based on 2 trustworthy tests conducted on both athletes in 2 independent laboratories as follows. Here they were. Istanbul 2022, New Delhi 2023, test performed. For clarification, Lin Yuting did not appeal the IBA's decision to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, thus rendering the decision legally binding. So that means that they were disqualified. It did happen. And Imane Khelif initially appealed, but withdrew the appeal process, also making the others legally binding. So they both got disqualified. That is what happened. Further to the decision made above and knowingly allowing Imane Khelif in world boxing or super blah blah. Oh, this is the one I was thinking of. We'll go back to this in a second. This might actually I might actually have to go on a way back machine. Is there change? This is changed from what I saw before. I'm about to open this one up too. We'll be looking at this in a second. We need to go look at the original ruling. There's differences now. Oh, that is weird. I might just pull up a different article though, because I'm stupid. So give it a second. We'll read through this. Further, the decision made above and only allowing to compete world boxing as sole purpose is to support the Olympic movement has equally endorsed and reinforced ineligible athletes to compete in their very own recently announced events. Alarmingly, the World Boxing 2024 USA Boxing International Division Tournament saw Khelif compete in the finals on 16th of April 2024, while furthering out blah blah. So they're going to go into things like why this has happened. We don't understand why. How is this feasible? Blah blah. That will never support any boxing bouts between genders. So this is go. The IBA will never support boxing matches between the genders as the organization puts the safety, well-being, blah, blah, blah. We are protecting our women and their rights to compete in the ring, an equal right, and we will defend and support them at all. Their hopes and dreams must never be taken away by our nation. I'm going to do the right thing. And IBA stands by its position to support all these people. Now remember, they have the tests. They're there. They can rule them up. So let's go look. Did they? They should have the IBA should just have a statement out about this when it came out. So let's go look. IBA, Imane Khelif, 2023. Where is it? Where is it? Because this is not the thing I read yesterday. The thing I read yesterday, I'm going to see if I can find it. Maybe it did get messed up in my look through. They're trying to use her again, but we'll take a look at that actually then. So let's go take a look. Let's go hunt for that one. Da, 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 da. It's gonna be tougher than I thought. IBA, can I search for this is the one I'm probably trying to look for. So yeah, we're gonna look through their old rulings here. So that was their August 1st ruling. It reaffirms this is statement made, and we're going to kind of go through them real quick. So if we look at our previous one, so they're going to go. So this is really interesting. We're going to see some language probably change a little bit. This is probably their disqualification again. Pointing out the athletes did not undergo a testosterone examination, but were subject to a separate and recognized test. This is where I would be very suspect of anyone saying testosterone anything. There has not been a testosterone examination. So that's what they're specifically saying. So higher testosterone, like we were seeing before, written here by the Algerian media reporting this stuff for high level testosterone. Either they're lying or someone's not getting their information right, because they're saying was not even a testosterone exam. And they're saying whereby the specifics remain confidential. This test conclusively indicated that both athletes did not meet the required necessary eligibility criteria. This is a very fascinating level of statements that it's hard for me to actually parse and understand to a degree. Because, here they're yelling, if we look back over here, the August 1st one, they're hooting and hollering about bouts between genders or blah, blah, blah. And they're going, well, it's not testosterone, it's their testosterone. We don't know if it's that at all, but there's something they're failing here. And said they found to have competitive advantage over other female competitors. What does that mean? What does that mean? And blah, blah, blah. So we're left with that. We can read the minutes here to hopefully I'm looking here to be like, okay, let's look at the minutes about the Khelif stuff. So we can actually look. Mr. IBA had a sports president 2 cases of athletes from Algeria, Imane Khelif and Chinese Taipei Lin Yuting, who competed at the IBA's Women's World Boxing Championship in India, failed to meet eligibility rules following a test conducted by an independent laboratory. It was proposed to ratify the decision made by the IBA Secretary General and CEO to disqualify both athletes and reinstate the athlete from Thailand, Janjaem Suwan, I cannot say any of that, who lost to the Algerian boxer in the semifinals. So, this is the interesting part. The IBA Secretary General and CEO stepped forward and said, we should do this. Not the IBA itself. This is the CEO who's come forward to do this. The board asked for clarification as to why this issue is being brought up at the end of the championship when the concerned athlete already made their way through different stages of the event. So like, okay, why are we bringing it up now? At this point, we kind of fucked it. And as Secretary explained, the testing was conducted upon the request of the technical delegate and medical jury of the championships. So let's go look that up. So this what's the role of technical delegate? Ensuring that the competition is conducted in accordance with BISFED Sport Technical Manual and agreed contract signed upon both BISFED and Hawk. So it's probably some technical people said that. And so he's saying, so they said, hey, they requested it. This result became available in 7 days, and the IBA Secretary General and CEO acting on behalf of IBA, notified the athletes immediately upon their disqualification, giving them 21 days to appeal the decision to CAS, that's a quick turnaround. Mr. Eurolympus confirmed that similar testing was conducted by a different independent laboratory with the same athlete at the previous edition of the IBA Women's World Boxing Championship in Istanbul, Turkey, 22. However, the results were received only upon conclusion of the event, hence the athletes were not disqualified back then, which this just seems so weird. But maybe it's just normal. And then Mr. Krimlev asked the IBA Secretary General and CEO and Sport Department if possible to take preventative action, not allowing the concerned boxers to compete in New Delhi, provided that the results of the first test were received shortly after the championship in Istanbul. He also emphasized the importance of safeguarding athletes' health. IBA president also said that he is in support of the 2 proposals because it's it is a high priority for the IBA to act on the received test results, thus protect the competition's integrity, ensure compliance with the IBA rules and regulations. So we don't really know why still. They just stepped forward and banned him. There's your answers. But now that my vocal cords are all warmed up and I'm ready to play some freaking video games, all this stuff is dumb. There is no information about it. We have no information is the answer. I've looked through all this stuff. The answer is we have a really weird source who, and their own original ruling from all what the information we have for all this is. Break it down. Total answers. What we have from this. Get rid of J.K. Rowling's Twitter on here. Blech. Looking at this, the article and what we all looked at. And again, I could go a little more depth into it, but I'm kind of want to go straight to the rest of my stuff now. Is first things first. They were banned for unspecified reason. So these 2 boxers were banned for unspecified reasons we don't know of yet. Then, when asked for evidence, or probably if they want us to fight it, it's confidential. Evidence is totally confident. We don't know. We have our suspicions that they're putting here for beating the Azalia Amaneva. And then their other suspicions are it's the woke liberal media. These are the 2 suspicions going at each other right now. Now I will say this to put it out. As someone from America and who enjoys probably the media, I would trust the media that's not owned by RT more than the media that is owned by the RT. That's a personal bias I will always considerably have. And when that person, the president, is going to talk to media in Russia to give his opinion, but is not coming to American media to provide his opinion, is they will ask him for sourcing, or he can provide it, or he can speak it out loud to the world. I find that very suspect, just because you're not being open to everyone. And then when your own organization isn't backing up what you're saying, that you own, you control, it's your organization, you're the IBA ruler, and they go, It wasn't testosterone. We don't know. It wasn't testosterone, and it's a classified test, and we can't get into it. But he's spouting off somewhere else, but not everywhere. It makes it hard to trust this person. On the other hand, everyone else is just kind of going, they seem a little suspect, and you can go look at all the court records yourself. Or the thing I said, I think there is some belief in the judging and the organization control that can make it look weird. Like, I wouldn't like it if my sporting contract was like, this is owned by the U.S. or like, this is owned by the U.S. It's backed by U.S. only backed by U.S. corporation, blah blah. And there's not some level of like separation of stuff. So that's what it is, and that's the story for that.